Macron, Starmer, Australia, Canada, all these countries were coming out, and they had signed this New York Declaration, essentially committing to support Palestinian self-determination. And that was because the International Court of Justice said that Israel's occupation is illegal, that Palestinians have a right to self-determination, and that third states need to support them, and that the territorial unit for Palestinian self-determination is the occupied territories, including East Jerusalem. And so that's where we were. All this momentum was being built around the notion the world is going to support Palestine now, finally, an end of occupation. And then we get this Trump plan. And the Trump plan essentially says, the problem really isn't the occupation. The problem is Palestinians are radical, and we need to clamp down on them and figure out how we can reform them so they could be worthy of actually governing themselves. And so what this plan says essentially is that we're going to have this board, this peace board, where Trump is going to lead us, and he's going to make all the decisions about what's going to happen in Gaza, right. And he's going to make all the decisions about what Palestinian governance should look like. But to start, Palestinians get to provide services to themselves. So that's the Palestinian technocratic apolitical committee that is going to be set up. We don't know who these people are. They're not going to be elected. They're going to be vetted by Trump and whoever else is on this board. They're foreign actors, business people. And then we're going to have security provided by some foreign actors that so far we don't see any Arab governments jumping into this.
Turkey, Egypt, and Qatar at some point.
Well, but most are saying, no, we don't want to have anything to do with this if you don't have Palestinians governing here. Right. So I mean, there's a lot of questions about whether any of this is implementable.
Let's break that down, because I think what Zaha said gets to the heart of something that I think is really interesting, which is Palestinian worthiness. It's this idea that Israel gets to decide, or the world gets to decide, Palestinian worthiness. Daniel, you've been working on this for years, and it seems so often within these negotiations that there are these stipulations. Palestine has to hit these benchmarks. And if they can hit these benchmarks, they will be deemed worthy and get, I guess, a brown belt in governance and can then move on to have their own state. But we've all seen how fragile this worthiness is, or this idea of worthiness.
And this is something that I've been convinced of for an awfully long time. There is one word that tells you virtually everything you need to know about this conflict. That word is impunity. As long as Israel can do what it does and is treated with impunity, that the Israeli public sees that it can get away with this. Why do you have an incentive inside Israel to do anything different? Sure, some people may feel uncomfortable with it, but then they say, we don't want a civil war. We know we've got some hotheads. No one else seems to be taking us to account for what we're doing. So if you want to change this, I don't even think your first question to ask is who needs to be in the room. Is it Israelis, Palestinians? Does it need to be managed by a third party? First of all, you have to address Israel's incentive structure. You have to address the impunity with which Israeli relentless criminality, and it pains me that this is the case, the way that Israel's relentless criminality is treated.